Not a hornet. Was it only dangerous? Or why murderous hornets are only dangerous to Americans? Wait, what? Only to us? What?
When Australian sugarcane farmers had
Huh?
problems with beetles devouring their crops, they devised a cutthroat strategy of introducing cane toads into the local ecosystem.
Toad.
The amphibian had garnered a reputation across the world for an insatiable appetite for the sugar-obsessed beetles, and many farmers believed that these toads were a safer alternative to harsh chemical pesticides available at the time. The plan ended up backfiring on them, as the toads quickly reproduced out of control, becoming a larger problem than the beetles they were introduced to deal with in the first place. Any species that is introduced into a new environment has the potential to become an invasive species.
True.
Though they usually don't come with any danger to human populations. Recently, we've encountered
Not yet,
new
at least.
invasive species in North America.
One day,
The
maybe.
giant Asian hornet, or, as they've been so alarmingly dubbed, murder hornets. But are they as dangerous as their name might suggest?
And how giant we talking? I don't want to see it. Who am I kidding? I don't care. I care, but I don't care.
If you think you see a giant Asian hornet, please alert local ecology experts, and they'll be able to handle it for you. Otherwise, you can avoid them by refraining from having
Will
sugary
they,
drinks
wait,
like
who? Will they take care of regular hornets? Brother, it's about that time of the year where hornets just start stacking at my front door. I fucking hell.
doors, and just by leaving
10-hour
them
streams,
outside
12-hour
and
streams,
that out of
fucking
the way,
inbound, brother.
let's get into it.
I ain't going out until the sun's
Vespa
gone.
mandar-
Oh my god.
Mandarini, like the mandarin.
Mandarin, yeah.
The Mandalorian.
Oh, cool, thanks.
Hey, no problem.
Vespa mandarinia, or the giant Asian hornet, are part of
what
the
the fuck
Vespidae
is
family,
that,
which
man?
includes all wasps. Of the creatures that we call hornets, most are actually different wasp species. In fact, all hornets are wasps, but not all wasps are hornets. The only true hornets are those in the genus Vespa. Hornet is just a name to classify the largest species of wasp.
So what? All jacuzzis are hot tubs, but not all hot tubs are jacuzzis?
Hornets are typically much larger and chubbier than their wasp counterparts, and sometimes forego the usual yellow-black coloration for white-black. The giant Asian hornet, in particular,
Oh, who's holding this
is
sucker?
5 to 5 centimeters long,
And
with a
how?
wingspan between 4 to 7 centimeters, situating it firmly as the largest hornet species on Earth. They have solid black or
What
brown
is it
eyes
doing?
and a large mandible with a black tooth. they
I'm
use
trying to
burrow
eat.
in the
What is
ground.
it doing?
Both workers and queens have reproductive organs, but workers do not reproduce.
It's got like a
The
mouth
only
in its
difference
mouth.
between royalty and peasantry is size, as opposed to bees, which have distinct anatomical differences between each caste.
Bees are cool.
Giant Asian hornets
Bees are
typically
cool.
live in
I'm
low
cool with bees.
mountainous and forested areas primarily in Southeast Asia, and most predominantly in Japan. Unlike other wasps or bees, V. mandarinia
In
uses
fact,
their big
save the
mandibles
bees,
to dig
bitch.
burrows underground,
Save 'em.
and sometimes
Save the
even
bees.
appropriate the homes of small rodents.
That's my
instead of
message
making
today.
hives at elevation. Imagine a minefield, except instead of exploding, you're swarmed by 1,000 angry hornets. Giant hornets are insectivorous omnivores that
No.
primarily feed on beetles, other vespids, and bees.
No.
However, they also have a penchant for the natural sugars in sap and fruit. Though, interestingly enough, adult worker hornets cannot digest solid foods. Any solids they consume are fed to larvae via trophallaxis, aka the transfer of food either mouth to mouth or mouth to Jeez! Workers get their
Huh?
caloric intake by sipping on
They're like
sap
human
and on the
centipede.
saliva of their larvae. Sometimes starving workers will hug other workers tight and pass foodstuffs back and forth between them to feed.
Oh, kind of like the Lady and the Tramp?
Yeah, but kind of like the human centipede, but for wasps.
Mouth or mouth to Jeez! Workers get their
That works. Well, it worked in the movie. Why does it work? Fuck, whatever. Just
caloric intake by
forget
sipping on
that.
sap and
Scratch
on
that
the
whole
saliva of their
segment.
larvae.
Fuck that. Who
Sometimes
cares?
starving workers will
Who
hug other
cares?
workers
I
tight
got
and pass
food.
foodstuffs back and forth between them to feed.
Oh, kind of like the Lady and the Tramp?
Yeah, except instead of spaghetti, it's chewed up balls of flesh. Yeah, here, let me. There, that's better.
Huh. But why are you like this?
Giant Asian hornets are also eusocial, which means that they live among multiple generations. rear their young collectively, and have distinct reproductive and non-reproductive classes. Giant hornets are also unique as they're the only eusocial wasp species that will coordinate attacks on other insect hives, including bee nests and other wasps. These invasions usually occur near the end of summer, right before their mating season, in order to ensure a plentiful bounty for the new generation, and to stockpile food for the winter.
Oh, that thing
attacks
is
take place over the
massive.
course of 3 phases, the first of which is dubbed the hunting phase. This phase sees giant hornets waiting at the entrance to an enemy hive, marking it with pheromones and snatching up any wayward foes to bring them home to feed their larvae. This phase
Wait, they're
can
bee
go on
snatchers.
indefinitely, and progression to
What
the
the
next
fuck?
phase is dependent on the distance between the home hive and the enemy hive. The next phase.
Oh, I just caught him.
Phase can go on,
Holy.
catching up any wayward
Oh, I got him on the way back home.
foes to bring them home to feed their larvae. This phase can go on indefinitely, and progression to the next phase is dependent on the distance between the home hive and the enemy hive.
Jesus.
The next phase, the slaughter, is as horrible as it sounds. At this time, anywhere from 2 to 50 hornets will zero in on a hive marked with pheromones secreted by a worker scout.
Bro,
The invading army will surround the
imagine
enemy hive
passing
and
this
provide
shit.
the entrance for defenders to rally for war. As the guards emerge from the hive, the hornets will swarm and tear them limb from limb. Up to 50% of the attackers may die in a hornet-on-hornet war, but any bee colonies unlucky enough to bear the brunt of a slaughter will usually fall without striking a single casualty on the raiders.
Oh, man.
During this phase, the hornets
Ugh,
will ignore
what
the
the
corpses of their enemies, and occasionally the slaughter will go on for so long that the
I
invading
can't.
soldiers die of starvation before the day is won.
My
If
eyes
the
hurt.
hornets succeed in butchering their prey, then the occupation can begin. This is the final phase of the giant Asian hornets invasion season, and the hornets become hyper-territorial over their plunder. Many workers will sleep in occupied territory as they grind the bodies of their rivals and their progeny into balls of bug meat to feed their new generation
Meatball.
of queens gestating at home.
Ooh,
So,
spaghetti
all of that is
meatball?
pretty horrible, but the question still stands. Just how dangerous are these bugs to us? If you saw our video on ants, you might recall Justin Schmidt and Coyote Peterson, our 2 favorite gluttons for punishment. While Schmidt's insect sting pain index might not have the giant Asian hornet on its list, Peterson set out to determine where it should be placed. That is, on a sliding scale from 1 being almost unnoticeable, like a mosquito bite, and 4 being, well, abject torment, like the sting of the bullet ant.
Oh man, wave of dizziness really quick.
The bullet?
Look at the welt. Shooting.
Ah!
Does the pain of the giant
What
Asian
the
hornet
fuck?
translate to higher fatality rates?
Yeah, that guy's
now?
kind of crazy.
According to Akito Kawahara, an associate professor with the University of Florida, not necessarily. Having grown up in Japan, he notes that these creatures were responsible for less than 13 deaths per year for 2017 and 2018. On top of that, Kawahara argues that Japanese
Still
people
responsible,
spend a lot of
though.
time
Hey,
in the
yo.
woods doing things like Shinrin-yoku or forest
No,
bathing,
no,
which is the
no,
woodland
no,
equivalent of
no.
sunbathing. So the likelihood of the average Japanese person to encounter one of these monsters is high, yet the number of deaths remain relatively low, which is good to hear.
Wait, they only kill like 13 people.
I don't be hearing this on the TripAdvisor. It may be only 13, but I'd still like to know how dangerous it is out there. Motherfuckers got the wasps out in the motherfucking, in the nature wildlife. Brother. Japan still sounds cool, but like, damn. You need, I don't know, fuck, that's scary.
Japanese person to encounter one of these monsters is
I ain't
high,
trying to be
yet
the,
number
I
of
like,
deaths
I ain't trying to be
remain
near those
relatively low,
suckers. Fuck those
which
fucking
is
things, goddammit.
Good to hear,
Wait, they only kill like 13 people a year in Japan?
actually. Yep. You're statistically more likely to die by lightning strike or horse riding accident than you are to die getting stung by a giant hornet. Even if
I
you
don't
live
care.
Smack dab in the
I
middle of your
don't
habitat.
care.
That is if you're not allergic.
Well, why the hell they?
Kind of weird, the lightning sounds cooler, and I don't remember the other one, but...
More likely to die by lightning strike or horse riding accident than you are to die getting stung by a
Okay.
giant hornet.
The horse riding, that looks kind of... If it was like that, oh, that looks pretty fucking wild. But the lightning, I don't know, like... Why does that sound... It doesn't sound cool, but like, you know, over like going out by a giant hornet. I just got something to get these goddamn motherfucking flying fucking suckers. I ain't got...
Even if
I
you live
ain't got
smack
time for
dab in
them.
the middle of their
I don't like
habitat.
'em.
That is if you're not allergic.
Well, Well, why the hell are
Bro.
they called murder hornets then, bro?
I think
Well,
I'm allergic.
They're called murder hornets.
My
because
brain is for sure.
People like drama. Do you remember Africanized killer bees from the 90s? They weren't killers at all. They were just bees. And similarly, these hornets aren't murderers. They're just hornets. The problem with the giant Asian hornet is that they've been accidentally introduced to the environments that don't have a niche for them. Kawahara notes that only about 2% of cargo containers are searched for pests and invasive species. So it's altogether likely that these giant hornets just slipped in under the radar. See, when people say murder hornets, they're thinking that they murder humans. But as we learned from the slaughter phase earlier, we're not the ones that they're beheading. Ecologists fear that since these giant hornets have no natural predators in North America, their population could spiral out of control. If their population booms, they would compete amongst themselves for food, and possibly decimate the honeybee population in the crossfire.
But Brew,
Don't do
aren't
that.
there bees in Japan too? Why isn't it a problem there?
The species of honeybee endemic to North America, Apis mellifera, doesn't have any defense mechanisms against the sort of attack that the giant Asian hornet can mount. The Japanese honeybee, or Apis cerana japonica, on the other hand, does. When a Japanese honeybee colony discovers a giant hornet scout in the hunting phase of their invasion season, they quickly sound the alarm, calling for hundreds of worker bees to surround their attacker in a tight sphere faster than it can kill them or mark their hive for invasion. Once they've
Jeez.
captured their assailant, the workers begin beating their wings.
I mean, they came into its
generating
home.
friction
I
and
mean,
raising the temperature and
we
amount
all
of
saw it.
CO2
We
around
all
the
saw that.
hornet. Temperatures can climb as high as 46 degrees Celsius, which quickly roasts the hornet to death, but leaves the bees
Dead.
relatively unscathed. But Western
Ugh.
honeybees are still left defenseless. So, what can we do? British Columbia's Department of Agriculture has plans to set hornet traps around the province to curb the spread of this invasive species.
Good.
Using a sheet of sticky cardboard around a small cut
Good.
in a tree, the BC government hopes to
Good,
lure the
good,
giant
good,
hornets
good.
to their adhesive doom.
Get a hold of him now.
The impact of all traps may not be felt just by these intruders, but by all insect species. Many scared individuals have been setting out traps using orange juice and rice wine, which unfortunately also attracts bees. So traps
man.
might end up harming the local ecosystem rather than protecting it.
Man.
All
Not the
invasive
bees.
species have the potential to become serious problems in the
Motherfucking
ecosystems
Futurama.
they're introduced to. The cane toad was purposefully brought to Australian shores to deal with pests, but in the end they became worse than the problem itself. It's yet to be seen if these hornets
Right.
could survive a North American winter. If they can, then it would be possible for them to establish a foothold in Canada and the United States, entrenching themselves into the local ecosystem and damaging local biodiversity. That being said, experts hope to contain the species until the weather cools off, and most believe that the frost should wipe them out. But until then, if we ever find ourselves face to face with one, we'll just have to remember. If stings have been nil, then simply stand still. But if stingers have stun, get ready to run.
You're right. Right. So you're telling me if it hasn't done anything, stay
I'm
still.
sorry, did we miss something?
And if it
Yeah,
did
sort
something,
of.
I
A
should
few weeks
run.
ago, we hit our 500.
That seems like interesting advice. If it doesn't seem like it's angry, stay still. But if it seems like it's angry, run. Brother, there's like a 50% chance when you run, you're fucked. And there's also like the chance that when you're standing there, like how am I to know that motherfucker's like, yeah, we chill. Like, he can't tell me, can he? Or does he have like a cue card? Does he have a motherfucking like what's up? How are we supposed to talk? I don't get that. I'm out every time. I'm out.